don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I had planned on doing a longer video, but unfortunately my next door neighbours, the house behind us, have decided that they're going to have a family get together in the garden because it's a rather nice warm day. So they're making lots of noise. So I'm going to keep this fairly kind of, I won't say quick, but pared down. My intention today is to do another collage cluster art journal page. And I'm going to be using a background page from a new digi-download set, which will be going live on the website later this week. I haven't quite finished it yet, but this one's done. So this is going to be one of the collection. And I've also got this fantastic cabinet card of this rather handsome young gent here. So the colour palette for this art journal page is going to be sepia tones, browns, warmer earth tones. So the only exception is going to be this, but I'll explain what I'm going to do with that later. So the first thing I want to do is just to get this glued down onto the page. So all I've done is just printed it onto ordinary printer paper. I haven't printed it on any thick paper or anything like that, just bog standard letter weight photocopier, Xerox machine, whatever you want to call it. Bog standard weight. Here in the UK we tend to get 80 GSM for printer. I don't know what that is in poundage for you our American cousins. So, and I've cut it, it's an 8x8 paper pad by the way, and I've cut it just so that I've got a nice little kind of even white border all the way around. And although it's going to be kind of grungy and earth toney, it is still going to be fairly clean lines, or fairly clean lined. I'm just looking around quickly. I don't know what I did with my vintage photo. I'll have to use brushed corduroy instead. So we're going to be adding a little bit of distress onto our ephemera pieces, the cluster pieces. So I've gone and collected some bits and pieces from I think it's, yeah, Thrift Shop. So it's the Tim Holtz collection Thrift Shop. Some of these may have snuck in from other bits as well. I don't believe that is part of the Thrift Shop piece because it feels thinner, so it might have snuck in from somewhere else. So the idea for me is, see how it just kind of blends into that background, is I want to cut this young chappie out. So from the background, I've got some paper stuck on my scissors. So, and you can leave a little bit of a gap or a border. So this young chap here is part of my collection of cabinet cards. So I have the original, or I'll say the original, I don't know whether there's any other prints that exist out there in the world, there may be, but I have the original one of this one, as I do have for quite a few. So I may later on offer this one as a digi-download set as well. In fact, no, I can't really, because that's the, yeah, I can't do the ephemera as a digi-download set, but I could certainly do him and the background. But I suppose I could create some ephemera pieces that would go with to create a digi-kit. Let's wait and see what you guys say in the comments as to whether or not you'd be interested in this rather handsome young chap. I think I will cut down those ears a little bit. So I've had to close all the windows in the house, even though it's a really, really warm day, because of the noise from the garden opposite. All I'm going to say about the family that live behind us is that it's 3 generations, granddad, son and grandkids, and they all go visit the local football club very regularly. So there's lots of chanting, lots of kicking footballs around in the garden. So I'm just laying these pieces around, just not necessarily trying to disguise edges or corners, but it just kind of helps to blend if there's something else in the page. So the cluster is over in the bottom right hand corner, and it's working its way that way across the page and just creeping that one like on a sort of like diagonal. I might actually just swap that. Just turn it into a 9 or a 6. Leave it as a 6, I think. And then I might just swap that one over there. I do like to kind of, and actually I think I'm going to put that over there and maybe move that 6 there. For balance, and then maybe see if I can go have a rake through my washi tape collection and see if I can find any appropriately coloured brownie types that I can maybe just put in around there. I'll be right back. Okay, so I found 4. So we've got one with numbers, so that's kind of like a measuring tape. We've got one which I think is from a Timmy Holtz set, which is clocks. Another one, excuse me, which again is numbers, which is kind of like tape, which is rather good. And a lighter coloured one, which I don't think is a Tim Holtz one, although I could be mistaken, I don't know, which is like cogs and gears, which is kind of steampunky. So that probably, I mean, it might not use all of them, but you know, at least they're there on hand. And I know a lot of people have said that they have difficulty with collages and that kind of thing because they never look like they're cohesive. Well, I think a lot of the times you have to really look at the colour of your pieces and see if you can, you know, stick within a certain colour theme rather than throwing everything at it. So I think if you can kind of keep it within a certain colour palette, then you can't really go wrong. Well, I don't think so anyway. Right, that's, hopefully, I'll remember where that was. In fact, I should really take a photograph of it, shouldn't I? Just grab my telephone, my telling bone, and we'll take a picture of the page so that I know exactly where everything went. So here we go, camera in, excuse the shine. There we go. So we've now got a picture, so we know exactly where everything's going to go on the page. Right. So we can move everything out of the way now. Easy peasy when you know how. So sort out your composition beforehand. You can change it on the hoof if you want. Right, so this was JP Coates, definitely a Tim Holtz one. So we're just going to go around the edges, just getting rid of those raw white bits. In fact, I tell you what, rather than just go around the one, then stick, and then do another one, and then stick, I'll actually go around the edges of all of my ephemera pieces, and I'll fast forward, and then we can come back, and then when we actually get to actually sticking down, we don't have to worry that we've missed a bit, or at least we'll have all of them done and dusted, without having to worry. So just be very careful around my young chap, and I'm calling him Oscar because he looks like an Oscar. I don't know whether in the States you get a TV series called Vienna Blood. It's the story of a young Jewish doctor and his family in Vienna at the turn of the century, last century, not this century, last century, so Victorian, and he works with the police in Vienna to solve crimes, but he's a doctor, is more a psychiatrist, is a Freudian psychiatrist. Anyway, I digress. The actor that plays the main character is called Matthew Beard, I think it is. He's very tall, very slim, very kind of striking looking, and he reminds me of him. So if you get a chance to see or to watch any of the Vienna Blood mysteries, there's only usually about 3 or 4 in the series, and I've had about 2 series so far, but they are extremely good, very, very well written. I believe there is a connection to the author, to myself, Ian, and the steampunk community. I'm not quite sure what the relationship is, but Ian seems to know somebody who knows the author who wrote the books originally. So 6 degrees of separation. Right, so I was going to whip through this really, really quickly, wasn't I? Fast forward, but I've ended up talking all the way through it. Chatting, but that's why they call it a Saturday Hangout, because we chat. Okay, so that's all those bits done. I'm not going to put the distress ink away because I will need it again later, just for one other item. Okay, so the main character, the doctor in the Vienna Blood, is called Max. So, right, so we said about there, didn't we? Yeah, I think that's about right. So grab the glue. So I'm using spirit glue, which I have thinned down somewhat with isopropyl alcohol, because when you put spirit glue in a little bottle like this and then you leave it for a few days, it starts to go very gloopy. And the way you can thin it down again is just add some alcohol. I haven't tried vodka, so don't ask. I'm not a vodka boy, but I should imagine any kind of strong alcohol would do. But isopropyl in the UK, surgical spirits, if you haven't got isopropyl, and you get the benefit of the lovely smell of the surgical spirits here in the UK, because it's scented. Americans will know the scent as wintergreen. Let's just lift that up a little bit, actually, maybe about there. So yeah, so our surgical spirits here in the UK smells like germaline as well, similar smell, which is a medicinal ointment. But again, I think for some Americans, I think root beer also has a similar sort of smell. So our surgical spirits, which isn't the same as isopropyl alcohol, it's a different type of alcohol. I did do a video years ago on the difference between rubbing alcohol and surgical spirits, so everybody knew what was what. The nearest spirit in the UK to isopropyl alcohol is methylated spirits, but here in the UK our methylated spirits is tinted purple. There's a dye, an additive added to it. Mainly it's so that if anybody drinks it they'll vomit. That's what the purple colour is there for. However, if you would put some methylated spirits on your windowsill in bright sunlight, after a week or so, the purple colour starts to fade. But I don't know whether the actual substance that makes you vomit, if you drink it, because you don't want to be drinking that strength of alcohol. Nobody should be drinking that strength of alcohol, because you'll go blind. I forgot where I was going. Yeah, I don't know whether that same substance that makes you vomit also dissipates. I think it's just the colour. But anyway, yes, so methylated spirits is exactly the same as isopropyl alcohol, thereabouts, but just with the colouring. If you ever wondered, there you go. So if you have wondered, I've just answered that one for you. Okay, so let's just grab some of that washi tape. And I'm not going to add a huge amount. I'm going to add, let's have a look, maybe that pocket watch one. Stick some of that up there, just so it pulls in there, and we'll add a bit there. And then we'll take that numbers and lay that over the top, and we'll take the numbers again and we'll lay that across the top there. Still haven't stuck Oscar down. Do like the name Oscar, it's lovely, but I think we'll do that now. It's all gone quiet outside. I'm hoping they may have taken the kids out. After all that complaining about the noise. There we go. A little bit on the front, that's alright, we can cover that up anyway. Likey. Right, now we're going to add the numbers. So we've got that bit there where we said we were going to put the numbers. Crunch those numbers. Okay, so we are going to stick with the 6, and we'll still put it in the same place over the top of the washi tape. Like that, and then down here we'll put another piece of that number, the clock, on the bottom there, and we'll have the same number piece, and we'll put that over the top there, and then when we come in with that circle we can add that down at the bottom, and that kind of covers that. Actually, I think I'm going to carry on that clock just a bit further past. So that when that goes down there, you've still got that little bit there. And I think just for aesthetics, and that's gone off the page. Do a smaller bit. Trying not to get my head in shot. Okay, so that final piece there. So that's a little label. So what that will also enable me to be able to do is I can put my date in there and sign it and date it on that label. So it gives me a nice little journaling spot. It's only a tiny little journaling spot, but it's still a journaling spot. Right, that's all my elements stuck down. That was peeling up a little bit. Should be sufficiently sticky. See how it's all kind of blended into the background. So, and they're all browns and earth tones in there. So I just wanted to add a tiny, tiny little pop of colour. And that's where that came in. So I did have a pair of scissors. What have I done with them? I only had them a second ago. There they go. They were hiding behind my coffee. Excuse me. Nectar. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to cut out one of the roses. So let me just decide which one, and I'm going to give him a little pop of colour. That one. That's more vibrant. So I'm just going to quickly fussy cut around this rose. And then try to remember to breathe while I'm cutting. Holding my breath. It's because it's so small and finicky. I probably did the entire of that off camera then, didn't I? I wasn't even looking. I was concentrating that hard on making sure I got very close that I probably did the whole thing off camera, to which I apologise. But you know, I'm only cutting out. It's not like it was a vital piece of the process. It's about as interesting. Watching somebody cut things out is about as interesting as watching paint dry. Right, so all I'm going to do then is just put a little splodge of glue, and then that can sit as a little buttonhole just on the edge of there, just on his coat, as the one token little pop of colour. So as for a quote, slogan or phrase, I'll be back. So I've just jumped into my box of Tim Holtz clippings, and I've got quite a few of these ones where they've got the similar sort of coloured earth tony backgrounds. Snippets, I think. Oh, these are fragments that they took out of. Oh, I like that one. Look, challenge the world. That's just jumped out at me. Some of these may be Halloween, possibly, by the light of the moon. Just at the moment, my sweetheart. So I think, yes, my darling. So obviously, so giddy. I think actually, Professor of Music, no. Do all the good you can, no, maybe not. Very kind-hearted yet. I'm still drawn, I think, to that one that we saw earlier, so I don't remember which one it was, because I've forgotten. Challenge the World, that was it, wasn't it? Yep, we'll have that one then. That seems to fit quite nicely. And then I'm going to put that so it's almost like the washi tape, just the same, over the top. And you're not going to stick down, are you? I'm going to have to push down really, really hard. But I think that's fine. That'll do. If it does peel off, I can always add some more glue underneath it later on. But I'm happy with the way that little cluster collage art journal page has turned out. It was fun sticking all those bits together. So date today is Saturday the 27th of May. So we'll put 27, 5, 23. There we go, and I've signed it. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this cluster collage in that kind of sepia tone with that little pop of colour. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up because it really does help the channel. And don't forget you can share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, why not? What's stopping you? That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. It's Artsy Trio collaboration next Wednesday, so I'll be back for that. See y'all soon. Bye. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.